All right, welcome to the deep dive. Today,
Wow.
we're going to be getting into something that's, I don't know, maybe not the most glamorous topic, but it's pretty fundamental
Oh, absolutely.
to like
Yeah.
almost everything around us.
Yeah.
And that is industrial molds.
Mm.
So, you think about like the precision it takes to create those intricate patterns you see on like your car's
Mm.
dashboard or how your phone case just fits perfectly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or even like the specific shape of a food container, like all that stuff.
Right.
These industrial molds are the tools that make that kind of mass production possible, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. They're kind of the unsung heroes of a lot of the stuff we use.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And it's not just like your basic ice cube tray,
No,
right?
no, no. This is high tech, like serious engineering.
Yeah, totally.
You're taking raw materials and turning them into complex, precise shapes. And it's not just one industry, it's across the board.
Yeah, and it's a market that's growing like crazy. For this deep dive, we're looking at some analysis from cognitive market research, and it shows that the market was valued at over $50 billion back in 2024.
Wow.
And it's projected to more than double that, like over $105 billion
Right.
by 2032.
That's a huge jump.
Yeah, an annual growth rate of almost 10%. That's insane.
It is. It's really significant.
So what's driving this crazy growth?
Well, you've got a few things all happening at once. First off, you have manufacturing technologies. Those are always advancing, right? So
Right.
you can have more complex mold designs, use all sorts of different materials. Then there's automation. Like every industry is trying to automate more. And for that, you need really high quality molds, ones that can just keep going and going.
Right, they got to be tough.
Exactly, exactly. And then another big factor is this global push for lighter materials, especially in things like cars, because everyone wants better fuel efficiency.
Right, save the planet.
Exactly. And, packaging, huge focus on recyclability.
Less waste. So all of these things are driving the need for new, better mold designs.
Yeah, it all connects back, right? Like if you want a more fuel efficient car,
Exactly.
you need lighter parts. And to make those lighter parts, you need different molds.
New materials, new molds, yeah.
Totally. So for this deep dive, we really want to understand this market
Okay,
by looking at the companies that are leading the charge.
makes sense.
Cognitive market research has identified the top 5 players, and we're going to break down what makes them so successful, what they're doing right.
Right, sounds good.
So the top 5, they are DMG Mori Co., Ltd., TRUMPF Group,
Okay.
DMTG, Amatico, Ltd., and U.S. Industrial Machinery. Those are like the big names.
The heavy hitters, yeah.
So cognitive market research, they didn't just look at who had the most revenue, although they did look at that.
And of course, yeah. That tells you who's the biggest, who's got the most financial muscle. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah, market share. But they dug deeper. They looked at their product portfolio. So like what kinds of molds are they offering?
Right, because it's not just one type of mold.
Right, you've got your injection molds, which are used a lot for plastics.
Yes.
And then you've got like blow molds. Those are used for hollow containers.
Hmm.
You've got extrusion molds for like continuous shapes, and then compression molds for things like rubber and composites. So like they're all different.
Yeah, and different industries need different types of molds. So a company that can offer a wide range of those different molds
Good sign. That's a good sign. Yeah.
shows that they're adaptable.
Exactly. They can serve more clients.
Yeah, and they also looked at their technological advancements, like are they using additive manufacturing?
Which is like 3D printing for industrial parts.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What about automation? How are they using that to speed up production? And even artificial intelligence, believe it or not.
Yeah. AI is getting into everything.
It's wild. They're using it to improve mold design and performance.
So it's not just the traditional manufacturing processes, it's these cutting edge things being integrated into the mold making.
Yeah, it's really cool to see. And then global presence. That's huge too.
Oh, yeah. You've got to be able to reach customers everywhere.
Yeah, especially in this globalized economy. And then how much they're investing in research and development, that shows.
That shows how serious they are about the future.
Yeah, like are they committed to innovating or are they just going to rest on their laurels?
Exactly. If they're not investing in R&D, they're going to get left behind.
Totally. And then the last thing, strategic alliances and collaborations, that could be huge.
Yeah, because you can partner with other companies, expand your reach.
Yeah, offer more services, get into new markets.
Exactly. Get access to technology you might not have yourself.
Totally, yeah. So cognitive market research looked at all of that stuff.
Pretty comprehensive.
Yeah, to really get a picture of these companies. So let's jump into it. Let's start with with DMG Mori.
Okay.
They're highlighted as a global leader in advanced manufacturing technology.
Yeah. And what's really interesting about them is they really specialize in these high precision machine tools. So specifically CNC milling and turning machines.
And for those who don't know, CNC, that stands for Computer Numerical Control.
Exactly. Basically, it's a computer controlling the machine to shape the molds with incredible accuracy, way more than you could do by hand.
Right. And they're based in Nagoya, Japan, but they operate in over 40 countries.
So truly global.
Yeah, big time. And their financials from 2023, they're impressive, $4.8 billion in total sales.
Wow.
And of that, 720 million was specifically from their industrial mold segment.
Okay, so that's a big chunk.
Yeah, it gives them a 9% share of the global market.
That's a serious player.
Yeah, definitely. And they have a really interesting product range. They've got these advanced 5-axis machines. So basically, the cutting tool can move in 5 different directions at once.
So you can create really complex shapes.
Yeah, and they also have this really cool hybrid additive manufacturing technology.
So they can 3D print parts of the molds.
Yeah, which allows them to make molds with like super intricate internal structures,
Right, stuff that you couldn't do with traditional methods.
Yeah, exactly. And in terms of R&D, they're really focused on integrating AI and IoT into their machines.
Which is pretty cutting edge. I mean, imagine a mold that can monitor its own condition.
Yeah, and adjust its performance automatically.
That's the future.
That's where they're headed. The report specifically mentions their LaserTech additive manufacturing series as an example of their innovation.
Yeah, they're pushing the boundaries.
And this focus on AI and IoT, it makes sense.
Yeah, it's all about maximizing precision, efficiency, making sure that mold production is as smooth as possible.
Yeah, less downtime for manufacturers.
Right, which means better value for their customers.
Exactly. And they're not just focused on the technology. They also did this really cool collaboration in 2023 with a European automotive manufacturer to develop these lightweight, durable molds.
So they're responding to the needs of the industry.
Yeah, and they're really committed to sustainability, which is great to see.
Yeah, energy-efficient machines, recyclable materials, it's becoming a must-have.
Totally. All right, let's move on to the next one. TRUMPF Group.
Okay, so TRUMPF, they're another big player, a leader in industrial manufacturing solutions, and they're really known for their laser technology and machine tools.
Which, as we've talked about, those are essential for making these high-precision molds.
Exactly. And they're based in Germany, with over 70 subsidiaries all over the world.
So another global powerhouse.
For sure. And they pulled in $4.2 billion in revenue in 2023, with $620 million of that from the industrial mold market.
So an 8% market share, just slightly behind DMG Mori.
Right. But their real strength is in their laser cutting and forming technologies. Their True Laser series is really well regarded in the industry.
And they're also investing heavily in smart manufacturing, things like automation, Industry 4.0.
Which is basically all about connecting and automating production processes using digital technology.
Right, making everything smarter and more efficient. What do you find interesting about TRUMPF?
Well, they really pushed the boundaries with their laser technology. Like in 2023, they introduced this green laser technology.
Oh, I read about that.
Which is specifically for processing reflective materials, which is a big deal for mold making in electronics and automotive, because those industries use a lot of reflective materials, and that was a real challenge before. So they're constantly innovating to meet the needs of their customers. Plus, they're committed to sustainability, developing energy-efficient machines, which is great.
Definitely a trend we're seeing across the industry. Okay, let's switch gears a bit. Let's talk about DMTG, the Daily Machine Tool Group.
Okay, so they're a major player coming out of China.
One of the biggest machine tool manufacturers in the country.
Right, and they offer a really wide range of CNC machining centers, lathes, milling machines, all that stuff that's used to make molds.
And they're headquartered in Dalian, China, so they have a strong presence in the Asian market.
Definitely a key player in that region.
Their 2023 sales were $3.6 billion, and $540 million of that came from their industrial mold business.
Giving them a 7% market share, not too shabby.
Not bad at all.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like their approach is a little different from, say, DMG Mori or TRUMPF.
Yeah, they seem to be more focused on providing affordable solutions, especially for emerging markets.
Right, so making high-quality mold, making technology accessible to a wider range of companies.
Exactly. And they're still investing in R&D. They've developed some advanced CNC systems, so they're not sacrificing quality.
Yeah, the report mentions they recently developed these high-speed machining centers that are good for making complex molds and working with lightweight materials.
So they're keeping up with the trends, but with a focus on affordability.
Right. They've got a strong presence in the Asia-Pacific region, and they're offering cost-effective solutions. That's their niche.
Makes sense. There's a big market for that.
Definitely. All right, next up, Amadaco Ltd. Back to Japan for this one.
All right, so Amada, they're a global leader in sheet metal machinery, and they're really good at things like laser cutting, press brakes, punching systems, all that good stuff.
And that expertise translates really well to making molds, especially for sheet metal forming.
Exactly. And they're headquartered in Kanagawa, Japan, with a global presence.
In 2023, their revenue was $3.2 billion, and $480 million that came from the industrial mold market.
So a 6.5% market share, not as big as some of the others, but still a major player.
Definitely. And they really stand out in one particular area, and that's sustainability.
Yeah, they're really focused on developing energy-efficient, environmentally friendly solutions.
Which is awesome. You know, it's great to see companies prioritizing that.
That's a big selling point these days.
Totally. Their Eensys AJ fiber laser series is a good example. It's super fast, precise, but also energy efficient.
Walk in the walk.
And they're embracing IoT as well. They launched these IoT-enabled press brakes in 2023.
So you can monitor their performance in real time. Very cool.
Yeah, that smart connected machinery. It's a theme we're seeing a lot.
Definitely a trend.
And they've got some strategic collaborations with companies in the automotive and electronics industries.
So they're working directly with their customers to understand their needs.
Which is a smart move. All right, last but not least, U.S. Industrial Machinery, the only American company in our top 5.
Based in Memphis, Tennessee, they're a big supplier of all sorts of industrial equipment, from CNC machining centers to metalworking machines and laser systems.
And their strategy seems to be all about providing cost-effective, reliable machinery.
Yeah, they're catering to a slightly different market, more focused on small and medium-sized enterprises.
The SMEs?
Exactly. Those companies might not have the same budget as a huge multinational corporation.
Right, so U.S. Industrial Machinery is giving them access to good quality equipment at a price they can afford.
Makes sense. And they're still innovating. They recently developed these compact CNC systems that are specifically designed for making high-precision molds for packaging and consumer goods.
So they're adapting to the needs of those specific markets.
Yeah, finding their niche.
And they've got a great distribution network across North America so they can easily reach those customers.
And they're known for their customer service, which is important for building loyalty.
Absolutely. So we've covered the big players, but the report also mentions some potential challenges to their dominance.
Uh-oh, competition.
Yeah, some up-and-coming companies that are making some noise.
Interesting. Who are we talking about?
Well, there's Dynacast International. They're a leader in precision die casting.
Okay.
And they're using this multi-slide technology, which allows them to make really intricate parts in a single molding cycle.
So it's more efficient, less waste.
Exactly. And that level of precision, it's really important in a lot of industries.
Makes sense.
Then there's Indo-MIM. They specialize in metal injection molding, and they're good at making really complex, strong components at a competitive price.
And they're focused on some pretty demanding markets: automotive, aerospace, medical.
Yeah, those industries have high standards.
They do. And then you have Smith Metal products. They're all about powder injection molding, and they really emphasize sustainability.
It's great to see so many companies taking that seriously.
It's becoming a major factor.
And then there's a bit of a curveball. Philx Lubricants, you wouldn't think a lubricant company would get into molds, but they are.
Interesting. How so?
They're developing mold technologies that enhance the performance and lifespan of the molds.
So it's not about making the molds themselves, it's about making them work better, last longer.
Exactly. And then finally, Heller Machine Tools. They're known for their advanced CNC machining centers, and they're really focused on Industry 4.0.
So lots of automation, customization.
Yep. So it seems like these emerging players, they're all about innovation, cost efficiency, strategic partnerships, and sustainability.
Yeah, they're finding their edge.
So if you're a new company looking to break into this market, what should you do? What does the report recommend?
Well, they really stress the importance of using innovative manufacturing techniques.
Like the ones we've been talking about: precision die casting, metal injection molding, advanced CNC machining.
Exactly. Those are the technologies that are in demand.
And they say it's crucial to offer customized solutions. So really focus on specific applications, like, lightweight components for EVs or high-precision medical parts.
Find a niche and become the expert in that niche.
Yeah, and cost effectiveness is obviously important.
Always. So you need to be smart about manufacturing, sourcing materials.
And geographically, where should companies be looking?
Asia Pacific is a huge growth market, especially India and China. So forming partnerships with companies in those regions, attending trade shows, that's all important.
Makes sense. And of
Yeah.
course, we can't forget about sustainability.
Right, using eco-friendly materials, energy-efficient production, that's going to attract more and more customers.
It's good for business and good for the planet.
Win-win. So basically, if you're a new company, focus on innovation, customization, cost efficiency, Asia Pacific, and sustainability,
Yeah.
and you've got a good shot.
Sounds like a solid plan.
Mm.
So to sum it all up, we're looking at a rapidly growing industrial mold market with some big players at the top and a bunch of smaller companies nipping at their heels.
It's a dynamic market, lots of competition.
But ultimately, it's all about innovation, sustainability, and strategic expansion.
Those are the keys to success.
So for our listeners, what's the takeaway here? I think it's that this world of industrial molds, it might seem kind of obscure, but it's actually incredibly important.
It underpins so much of what we rely on every day.
Exactly. And it's a hotbed of technological advancement. Companies are constantly trying to improve, to be more efficient, more sustainable.
It's a fascinating area, even if it's not the most glamorous.
Yeah, there's a lot going on beneath the surface. All right, well, that was a deep dive into the world of industrial molds.
It was a lot to think about.
And before we go, a final thought for you to ponder. We talked about all these advancements in materials, science, and manufacturing, things like 3D printing. Now, our source material didn't specifically focus on 3D printing for molds,
Right.
but it's a related area. So think about it. How might the way we design and produce molds be totally different in, say, 10 years?
It's a good question.
What new companies, what new technologies might emerge? What will the landscape look like?
Lots of possibilities.
Definitely something to keep an eye on. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
My pleasure. Always interesting to explore these topics.